In this video, we want to look at determining whether or not a picture is that of a function, and we also want to determine the domain and range. So now one of the things you want to remember about determining if something is a function is using the vertical line test. The vertical line test says that if you can draw a vertical line such that it passes through more than one point, then the picture you have is not a function. So if we look at this guy right here, if you draw a vertical line in the middle, it doesn't really do anything, doesn't cross through any points, but if you draw one over here, you're going to hit 2 points for the vertical line, or if you draw anything over here, you're going to hit 2 points. So what we already know about this guy is that this guy is not a function. Now, just because it's not a function doesn't mean it doesn't have domain and range. It does, and that's what we want to determine. Now remember, when we talk about the domain is going to be the set of all x values that help make up this picture. So when we look here, you see that you've got two different pieces, two different parts that you want to put together. You've got this part over here that contributes to the domain, and this part as well. And anytime we do domain and range, or joining things together, you're going to do a union of everything that you have. And the easy way to do the domain is to just smash everything onto the x-axis. So if I do that here, if I were to smash all this onto the x-axis, you see that this guy comes all the way out to -4, and it would include everything to the left. This piece over here starts at +2, and it would include everything to the right. So just imagine with your minds, you're smashing this onto the x-axis. And so this is what you would have. You do include this point right here, so that is going to be a bracket when you go to the interval notation. So that's going to be from -infinity to -4 with a bracket, because we are including that. And the other piece, we're going to have to join this right here, so we use the union symbol. We're going to join this when x equals +2, and it's going to increase to the right without bounds, so it's going to go to +infinity. So you can see there's nothing that we're using in between -4 and +2, so that's why it's not included in the domain. Well, let's look at the range. Remember that the range is the set of all y values. So just like we smashed the graph onto the x-axis for the domain, smash everything onto the y-axis to determine the range, because the range is the set of all y values. Now when I do that, you see that all of this stuff would come over here to the y-axis. Not even just the right part, but also the right guy as well. So you would be including everything going all the way down and going all the way up. So when you look at this from the perspective of the y, your range would include everything from -infinity to +infinity. Now another way of saying this is all real numbers, and the symbol that we have for that is this funny looking R. When you go further on in math, you'll discover other symbols to represent special sets of numbers. Real numbers, complex numbers, rational numbers, and others. Okay? So, let's see what else we have here. Oh, look, it's a worm. Oh, how cute. Well, it's not really a worm. It's more like a sine wave, but if it makes you feel better to look at this more organically, then sure, it's a worm. Now, looking at this guy, does he pass the vertical line test? Can you draw a vertical line through any place on here and only go through one point? Let's see, that's good, that's good. Hey, everything's good on this guy. So that means that this guy is a function, okay? So this guy is a function. So let's determine the domain. Now the domain again is the set of all x values. Imagine smashing this onto the x-axis. And you're going to see that this guy looks like he's establishing a pattern, and it looks like he's not going to stop. He's going to keep on going and going. Not only out to the right, but also to the left. This guy is continuous, which means you can draw him without picking up your pen or pencil. So this guy will have a domain from -infinity to infinity. But the range, let's check out the range. We said that we were establishing a pattern here. This guy bounces up here to +6, comes down here to -2. To +6 to -2, it keeps bouncing back and forth between here. It's not like all of a sudden over here he decides, you know what, I'm tired of this, I'm just going to go up forever. He doesn't do that. He's going to keep maintaining this pattern. So one of the things you have to understand with these pictures is what kind of pattern is being established. Can I kind of extrapolate and see what's going to happen as I keep going out to the left and to the right? So your range is going to be bounded between -2 on the bottom and +6 on the top. So everything in between here will be for your range. So from -2 to +6. That would include all of the y values that make up this picture.